prioritizes defense, infrastructure, and human capital development with a projected deficit of about 13.39 billion. But where will the money come from to finance everything the president has proposed to accomplish within the budget? This is the Eastern Eye. I am Alex Obodo. Welcome to the Eastern Eye here on Afia TV. It's a program that x-rays the political, social, and economic development around us. Tonight I'm joined by Dr. Stan Ukeje. He is an economist and public policy analyst. Thank you so much, Dr. Ukeje, for joining me
Alex.
Tonight on the Eastern Eye. Looking at it, well, as always, end of the year, they go to the National Assembly and forward what will be the guide. And then, at the end of the day, let me get your first impression of what was presented to the National Assembly, because we certainly know that that's not the exact figure they will churn out when they are done. I understand it has gone through second reading already.
Well, I think doing things the wrong way has become normal in Nigeria. So people who understand economics and macroeconomics or fiscal policy tend not to pay attention to what government says, because they say one thing and do something else. Yeah.
So when they say, when you say they say one thing and do something else, what exactly are you referring to?
The reports say that the President of the Senate, while the President was there, announced that the budget for 2024, its implementation will be extended to June next year. So, but the law says the financial year is from January 1 to December. So where are they amending the Constitution? And this is not the first time they are doing it. The 2022 or 2023 election may not have been fully implemented. So it's just to fulfill all righteousness. In fact, there is a saying that the policymaker makes policy in his interest, that if it benefits other people, it's not his intention.
I mean, this is quite interesting, but it looks like the president is focusing, as you can see from this proposal, he's interested in defense, and other presidents before him have been interested in defense. For instance, President Buhari was interested in defense. They, devoted a chunk of Nigeria's budget for defense. And how are you looking at in terms of the reward for giving such an amount or such amount of money or such chunk of the country's resources to a particular sector, and then are we seeing the rewards for that?
What is interesting to me is the word defense. We are not at war with any other country. So why are we spending so much money on defense? But you could prepare for war during the time of peace. But public expenditure, in other words, public procurement, is not used to develop the economy. If the defense expenditure went into research to develop security tools, it will help the economy. You may not know it, but it is true that some of the things we use commonly these days, like the cell phone, they were developed by the American military, for theater communication. It was only when other people learned about it, they improved in it, and then passed this to the private sector, and it became a public product. Some of the shoes we wear are developed by the army, the US Army. When you run, they know the one that can fit. After some time, they drop it. So it's even the satellites that you use for broadcasting it was originally developed for defense. So, but what we have here is that people travel, maybe go to Libya and buy vandalized weapons come here, box seats, and say the soldiers have been supplied. No evidence of defense. But defense means defending the country. Internal security is the duty of the police. But if you watch the recent protests and how the police appear on the scene, you see that the police are ill-equipped. Watch European protests. You see their police coming with gear to protect themselves against stone or missiles. But our own police come with gun to kill, which is not security. Because if you are guarding people who are protesting, or you are now, even our own law says that when people gather, either lawfully or unlawfully, a senior police officer, that is an assistant superintendent or above, will address them. If he says that they should disperse, he will announce it and give them time to disperse in an orderly manner. But those procedures are already gone, you know. People come with weapons, fire tear gas, you know. That is not security, you know. Even when a group says they are going to protest, if the police are well equipped, they will become embedded in that group and get original information about what they intend to do, who are the rascals among them. But these things have not done. So the amount spent on defense does not, if the country is not defended, you can see it's very porous. If the country was being defended internally, I don't think that Leah Sharibu will still be held captive after how many years now? Because it undermines, that is a very unsecure behavior. It's something that the police, the army should ensure that it does not last more than a day. A girl says, I will not become a Muslim, and you kidnap her, say you are marrying her. I mean, so what are you defending?
All right, so let's dig right back into the budget proposal of President Tinubu. Of course, with the budget, you know, people have different tags for what they call budgets. Last year it was budget of renewed hope when it came on board, and this time is a budget of restoration, securing peace, rebuilding prosperity. Let's talk about the theme before we dig right into some of the other proposed areas of expenditure. What do you think about the theme of the budget?
That's why I'm telling you that these things are just stylistics. Because if you are going to talk about prosperity and the economy is in decline, it has to stop, the decline has to stop before you talk about return. You can't be prospering when you are deep. I mean, it's just like somebody who took the West African certificate examination and failed all the courses. You cannot say that your next this thing is to score straight A's. Where is the basis? You can say that I will not fail any course in the next trial, or I will not fail more than 2 courses. Not that you will make straight A's. It doesn't make sense. So where is the prosperity? Poverty is growing, unemployment is growing. There are things that the public sector should do which are not being done. And then you say you are moving to prosperity. With who? So it is maybe the prosperity of those who organize the budget, you know, they write something. I was even surprised that the budget was presented yesterday, because the Federal Executive Council meeting said they were going to fix a few things. I mean, you don't fix it in one day. I was expecting 1 week. And almost after the presentation, the presenter went on holiday, showing that I don't think it's a very serious...
Okay, so let's try to get some sectoral stuff here. Already we've mentioned that security and defense will gulp 4.91 trillion, while infrastructure will receive 4.06 trillion for projects such as Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway and the Sokoto-Badagry Highway. Let's speak on this too. It looks like these 2 projects seem to be giving the president sleepless nights. So because the very first set of 2 projects he mentioned in the 2025 budget were these 2 projects, the Lagos-Calabar and the Sokoto-Badagry Highway. And they say it's going to cost 4.06 trillion.
That is why I'm telling you that the policy maker makes policy in his interest. If it benefits other people, it's not intended. To construct that Lagos to Calabar coastal highway, you need to move from point A to point B. Assuming that you want to move from Ebonyi to Lagos to join the crew, travel from Ebonyi to Onitsha. Part of the road is dilapidated, not small parts, big parts. All the way to Lagos. To do the Sokoto to Badagry, many roads in that axis are not motorable. So how are you going to get to the road you want to construct? You see, there are ways, according to the scripture, that seem right in the eyes of man, but truly they are not right. In a country where you have so many people with low skill, but willing to work, if that road was being surveyed by young people over the next 2 years, they are going to be engaged and valuable information will be collected. How many towns, settlements are on the road? What are the kind of economic crops that are there? What is the vegetation? What is the fauna, animals? You know, a lot of data will be collected. And these young people who will be patrolling will get knowledge about their own country. The government will benefit. People, you know, everybody is benefiting. But without warning, you award the contract. To move equipment from anywhere to those places is a hell of a problem. Some bridges within the country cannot carry the equipment that will go there. So how are you going to get earth movers to get to that place? Abuja-Lokoja Highway was awarded, I think, during Obasanjo's period. Up to today, it has not been completed. You know, it doesn't show proper understanding. But I think some people talk about legacy, that I was the person that awarded this road. Whether it is completed or not, it doesn't matter. So I don't see what, because if you talk about prosperity, the budget itself proclaims that inflation will come down from 34 to 15%. Most growing economies have their inflation at low and stable rates, 2-3%. How can you grow at 15%? And what's the magic? Is it food? Is it fuel? Is it what? That will make inflation to come down. And worst of all, the major support to inflation is in that budget. 30% of the funding is going to be borrowed. And it's going to be borrowed, not that it has been borrowed, because if you are going to get financing for doing something, it should be down. Commitment, things like that would have been down. This is why you find that the central bank is victimized. Governments go there to collect, to print money. And when you print money, you are inducing inflation. Interest rates will be up for businesses, but the people who borrow on behalf of the public sector don't care, because they are not the people to pay. But they are inflicting what is called the inflationary tax on the public.
All right, so the president also announced significant allocations for education and health. Education will receive 3.52 trillion, which includes funding for universal basic education and 9 new higher institutions, while the health sector will get 2.48 trillion naira to improve healthcare systems and provide essential drugs for public hospitals. So let's go to education. 3.52 trillion, which is for basic education, universal basic education, and 9 new higher institutions. So in your own assessment, we need more tertiary institutions, or do we have enough?
Alex, there is something that is called cautionary tale in English. When something happens that tells you, a bad story. The University of Nigeria, Nsukka, one of the best, in fact, the first university that was established by law in Nigeria. I think last week or so, they advertised what they call shopping. One of the most critical areas of study Nigeria requires is soil science. In that advertisement, I think they needed about 177 students to apply. And they're asking people who scored 160 out of 400, which is 40%. In Imo State, people will say that if you take those who score 40%, who didn't apply for soil science, and you ask them to come, what do you expect? You can't do proper crop agriculture without the knowledge of the different soils.
That's right.
Even in the medical area, they were still shopping, asking people to come. But university education is not for followers, it's for leaders. If there are two people who want to study mathematics, teach them. When they come out, they will be stars. Don't overload the class. But you see, those who run the universities themselves, they want people to be milling around them, and because maybe they want to be milking them. The same thing with medicine. Most people who work in public sector hospitals don't like to be quiet. They like people to be hovering around them. You see two people and you leave. But elsewhere, abroad, you will see a medical doctor who is waiting in his clinic, reading journals. Eventually you see 3 or 4 people, and he's happy. But there are people who want people to be whipping all around them. So why do you need, how many universities and higher institutions do the federal government have now? It's so many. If you go to them, the way to, in Brussels, somebody said the way to measure civilization is to go to your sanitary house. At the European Union in 1987, I went there. The number of public toilets there is just like you can say from where ABC is Enugu Road up to local gates.
Okay.
Very large, very clean. You can eat meat pie there. But go to our universities, not just the classroom. People are defecating. I mean, you call it a university. Why are you setting up new ones? There is a concept called absorptive capacity, and I will technically define it. Let's say a jealous investor has come to Afia TV and wants to set up his own TV station, and he wants to start broadcasting tomorrow. Just tell me, how will he make it? How will it be possible? Even if he has all the money, or can hire robbers to come and rob other TV stations, and what of the building, what of the staff? Even if he's going to poach staff, how many can you poach? So the capacity to absorb investment is very low because the factors are not there. If university education has not been leading to development, why set up new ones? Why? Private universities, public universities, all of them not contributing to knowledge, not contributing to understanding. You see all these people who cannot read billions when they are given paper. And they attended university. If that is the outcome, should we be setting up more, or actually asking those who have paper to come back to learn how to read and write? Counting. Because that is what the public requires. Read, writing, and arithmetic. If somebody who is a leader cannot read the figure written for, and it is a speech you know you will make. As you are dressing up, you look at it. You say trillion, billion, million. I beg, leave this thing. That's not what. Which means that nothing matters to you. If that is the outcome of those who have graduated 10, 15 years ago. Imagine what is happening now.
All right, we'll take a break here on the Eastern Eye. When we return, we will continue our analysis of various sectors the president forwarded in the budget estimates to the National Assembly. We'll take a look at the issues of the health sector, and of course, we'll look at the healthcare systems around us. Stay with us here on the Eastern Eye.
But why won't I be happy? Not just because it's festive season. It's moments of friendship and 60 million reasons to love. Small Pepe.
Babes, this dress is given.
Don't forget the earrings. Those are 2 reasons already.
The best reasons will make your heart beat faster. Come on! And make every laugh worth it. It's all about holding hands, sharing and enjoying happy times together.
Have more reasons to be happy with Naija dramas, football, and more smiles on DSTV this festive season. DSTV, your home of entertainment.
For medical care, but that never happens. So the question is, all the monies that have been devoted to healthcare, even from 2015, for instance, to the point that even the humongous amount devoted for the Aso Villa Healthcare health facility that wouldn't also treat the president. So when you look at such figure as 2.48 trillion to improve healthcare systems and provide essential drugs for public hospitals, what readily comes to your mind?
Alex, you know, the word trillion can trigger some emotions. But it did occur to me, you know, when I read through. I saw that the hope that exchange rates will come down to 1,500 naira per dollar means that the minimum wage in Nigeria is $53.3 a month. So those trillions, when you divide them by 1,000, they come to nothing. And that's why I say that the purpose, any developmental public sector invests in production that you will buy all kinds of machines and install. The people who designed that machine have moved on to other things. By the time we know about it, a later one is coming. Therefore, what we need to do is to develop internal capacity to produce those things, so that over time, you come to the same level with the advanced countries. If the presidents, the vice president, governors go abroad for medical treatment, anybody who has money will go. That is the truth of the matter. Have you ever heard of anybody who is the physician to the president or governor? They don't trust anybody here. And are the people who are going to make decisions about public health. But more important, vehicles causing ill health. As long as you set more hospitals, but you don't stop the sources of infection, you will never stop. Health education, you know, before you used to have posters that will tell you, wash your hand, do this, don't eat overripe mango. But go to Enugu now in the town, you will see unripe odala. Don't know how people just cut it and bring it to town, pushing it around. These things can cause ill health, but nobody is bothered. It's a big problem. So this, that we will buy this, I think Obasanjo invested with one company called VedMed to install cancer treatment centers. Go to any of those cancer treatment centers. You don't find the operator. Every day the machine is broken down. People who are supposed to be treated cannot be treated. They come from, I think the one at UNCH, south, and southeast. People will come from Warri only to come and stay for 3 days. They can't get treatment. But if we were doing medical engineering here, we would have solved that problem long time ago.
So typically, you're saying that Nigeria cannot solve these problems by throwing money at them, by mentioning high figures, because it doesn't look like it has solved the problem.
We are not on the path to development, because this minimum wage analysis I gave you, anytime we trade with foreign countries, we are importing inflation, because a 1-hour job in the US, the wage for 1 hour is more than the minimum wage for a month. So when you buy products from the US and bring it to Nigeria, you are importing inflation, because this man who earns $53 cannot pay, his monthly salary is less than an hourly wage at GM Motors. So when he enters public transport made from vehicle made by GM, he is consuming an inflated price relative to his own wage. You know, that's the problem, because some of the basis for what the government said it was going to do does not exist. He said he was aiming for macroeconomic stability. When you have inflation that is galloping, you cannot have macroeconomic stability. When you have power cuts, you go to a company, they are trying to issue receipts, there is power cut. They begin all over again. Before they sign signature, there is power cut. You go to a photographer, there is power cut. Everywhere there is power cut. That cannot make for macroeconomic stability. You have people, medical doctors, they have not been paid their wages. You are a trainee medical doctor, they are owing you allowances. You are exposed to infection, they don't buy equipment for you to protect yourself. Another was improved business environment. How can? If government is going to borrow 30, that is just an elementary.
Yeah, I totally understand where you're headed, and you are pointing at a very fundamental problem, and it's telling you that Nigeria hasn't moved with time. I mean, you couldn't have traveled elsewhere, and you're still hearing people, hail where the bus is going. There has to be a way to know that the bus is heading there. Someone does not need to tell you where the bus is going. You should know by looking at the bus, isn't it?
Of course.
Where the bus is going. So what is stopping us from getting there?
Because production and productivity is very low. Very, very low. Many people who went to school did not learn anything from there. The structure is poorly organized, because you need to organize things. An urban area should have a municipal transport system. You don't have everybody KK. If you go to Port Harcourt Expressway, you will find tricycle on the road along with trailers. You are setting up an accident. An accident scene. Do remember that I think in 1980, is it in the 90s, there was to be a World Cup football match here. One of the vice presidents of FIFA, I think under Jack one or so, he came to Enugu, inspected the Nnamdi Azikiwe stadium, and said, where is the best hospital? They took him to the old UNCH. He checked the accident and the emergency and shook his head. Say, these people you are bringing from all over the world to come and play here, is this how, if they have an injury, is this where you will treat them? People were telling him that we'll do so and so. He said, no, you don't have a second chance to leave a first good impression. We are leaving a very bad impression. We are not doing the correct thing. I do recall that Professor Tinubu'S, there was a time he tried to run for governor. And one of the things that impressed me from the interview he gave was that he is interested in doing things well. that in the US, where he studied and worked, that if you ask a carpenter to fix a door to your house, he will get it right first time. But here, when you hire a technician to repair your car, he will damage it like 3 times before telling you, I got medicine. And he will pay him for all the damages he has caused you. So the productivity and production is very low. We are still using a jack to bring out engines. It just tells you where we are. I'm not saying that it is bad, but there are efficient ways of doing those things.
All right, we are fast running out of time. Let us also look at other sectors. The president also said they're expecting 34.82 trillion naira in revenue for 2025, leaving a deficit of 13.39 trillion, representing 3.89% of Nigeria's gross domestic product. He explained that the deficit will be financed through borrowing, stressing that this approach is necessary to achieve the government's developmental goals. You've touched on this before, how they will intend, and I asked that question in the beginning, where will the money come from? Here we are, if they're expecting a 34.82 trillion naira revenue for 2025, they have a deficit of 13.39 trillion. So where will the money come from to cover the difference?
I told you that the policymakers are not interested in other people. Look at the projection for oil production. 2.06 million barrels per day. Who will produce it? Many companies that are active in production are leaving the country. To mine oil in the deep sea, you require high capacity drill platforms. We have robbers on our high seas who attack all those platforms. Who will want to send a platform to Nigeria? On the mainland, big companies are divesting. When they divest, the government begins to look at the people getting it instead of looking at the production. Seplat wanted to take an asset from an outgoing foreign company. It took 2 years to approve it. 2 years. A company has stopped production. He says, I'm in deal with Seplat. We want to sell this to them. Government approve it for 2 years. It required a lot of maneuver after they had approved the one of O&O. And people are asking, why do you make this one in 2 weeks and leave the other one for 2 years? So the incentive to even produce 2.06 million barrels per day is not there. So the one that they are talking about, the thing is not there.
So you're worried that there is some kind of opaqueness in the way the oil industry is being managed. There's that lack of clarity, lack of transparency. You don't know clearly the quantity of oil being produced because people are bandying different figures. Government will bandy this figure. Another group will say, no, we're not producing up to that. So why do we have those conflicting figures from different institutions?
It's interest. The government is, 2 things that the government requires, any government, is solidarity with the people. It doesn't happen here. Commitment to goals. Those 2 things. Because once you show solidarity and you are committed, many people can take care of themselves in many things. But if it is a country of anything goes, like a former chief of army staff said, then God help everybody. So it's a difficult situation. What Nigeria requires actually is less government expenditure, what is called consolidation. But what they do is that they blow up their own and leave other people, under the bus. You can see soldiers, including a colonel.
All right, so at the end of the day, is there something that the National Assembly can do to these estimates the president forwarded? Or is it also,
No.
you don't have high hopes that the National Assembly will
if you saw their
budget
mood
for the better
on television, you will know that they are looking for their own cut. And like you said, they are going to add their own constituency projects. You will find that if you go to Maiduguri, you will find a market to be built by University of Nigeria and Nsukka. They will put it as a signboard. There is a constituency project attracted by Alhaji Goni Buka. No, they are not worried about is the university supposed to be doing constituency project outside its area of influence, but you find it here everywhere. There's all kinds of things they do. So they are not interested in regimentation, because a budget law is a law that should be implemented. Once you pass a budget, it becomes a law, and you should fight tooth and nail to pass it. But look at Nigeria, we have a Minister of Finance who is a coordinating Minister of the Economy. He's missing in action. Bagudu came out and said he's the Minister of Budget and National Planning. If the country follows the rules, what is called medium-term expenditure framework, this budget should be the medium-term expenditure framework year 2 of 2024. But you'll find that if you read the MTF of last year and the budget of this year, they have no connection.
I mean, that's very worrying. We'll have just about 1 minute to go. How do we create that reconciling effect to this? Do you expect the National Assembly to do some magic to really maybe put them to the task of making sure that if you have an MTF, that MTF should tally with figures you are presenting? Because you have said that between 2023 and maybe 2028, that this is what you want to do. So how come in 2025 the figures are not quite tallying?
Because if they use the money allocated to them properly, they should have a budget office. All the senators, all the House of Reps members should employ assistants that are qualified. So even before the budget comes, the senators will be interacting, because if they are doing their party work properly, like any project you want in your constituency, you approach the minister, the president, the budget office. So you don't add projects when it is brought. Then, long before it comes, the budget office of the National Assembly would have looked at it, compared it with the MTF, checked the indices. You said you were going to borrow 80 billion last year, but you were only able to borrow 4 billion. Why are you saying you will borrow 13 trillion this year? These are basic questions. Credibility. But we become victim of smart Alex, not your own Alex properly. Because you find the World Bank giving Nigeria a loan for all kinds of things. They will say to improve the condition of women. How can you, what is their condition that you want to improve with money? You know, the money will fizzle out, people will still be suffering. It's a lot of, you know, things that don't add up. Things that don't add up.
All right. I think that's a good place to leave it. I have to thank you so much, Dr. Stan Okeje. As an economist and public policy analyst, thank you for your insightful perspectives on the Eastern Eye tonight.
It's my joy being with you, Alex.
Thank you. And by the way, compliments of the season.
Thank you very much.
That's the Eastern Eye for tonight. We'll be here tomorrow sometime. Up next is Nka. My name is Alex Obodo. Good night.
And another opportunity for us to gist and me to tell you, bring all the spice, all the things that are hot, trending, and exclusive on social media. Sometimes I know there's constructive criticism. I know that you know how to quote it. So for the people that don't understand, I want to be like, oh, why are you doing this?
Please, I'm not a cross-dresser. I'm only doing this because of the money on Facebook.
There are some people you need to just tell the truth brutally. Let it hurt them. Give it hot.
Afia TV official, exclusive every weekday on Afia TV.
Time check, it's 2 p.m. and it's time for us to vibe, chill, and relax.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lunch Break on Afia TV.
So Lunch Break is all about the music, it's all about fun, it's all about entertainment, it's all about entertaining gossip and stories from social, it's all about the latest trends, it's about what's lit, it's all about the games with our guests, and yes, in general, I like to say it's all about the vibes and vibes only.
You've often wondered, what does it mean to be Igbo in today's Nigeria? You know, what's the intersection of ancestors?
Good evening to you, viewer, and welcome to Women in Business, a show that profiles women, executives, and even the next door store owners, showcasing Igbo greatness to the world.
I started always obsessed with books ever since I was a child.
The stress of always converting naira to dollar and...
An incompetent means an incompetent person.
Welcome to Afia TV, your go-to channel for excellent news and incredible shows that keeps you IEI, that is, informed, entertained, and inspired. Need a break?
Ladies and germs, welcome to Lunch Break on Afia TV.
Join Choco to vibe and chill on Lunch Break at 2 p.m. for the latest trends in music and entertainment.
Not like I have big money.
Dive into the world of innovation and creativity with Rochelle on Unka.
It means art in English.
Where creative minds and groundbreaking ideas come to life. Tune in every weekday at 8 p.m. Do not miss Afia TV Official, your perfect dose of laughter, where they discuss what is currently trending on social media every day at 5